You know what we call this in the United States? God's ketchup, right there.
I've never heard that before. I think he just made it up.
Is this how the other half lives all the time?
One of those things just never happened.
When somebody rips one, you know it, and it's not yours.
It was like Bugs Bunny when you like smelled the carrot soup.
That is the most random thing. What are you talking about?
It's impossible. Go to the side, Tony. Enjoy the smack. There we go. And we're back.
We're back.
Overseasoned Podcast. And you know what? I have to tell you something, Geoff.
Go ahead.
So, you know,
Can we introduce who our guest is?
we're going to get in there. We're going to get in there. So,
Overseasoned Podcast. We're here with our friend Geoff Fader
yes.
of faderknives.com. Go there.
We're going
to do like a promo code or something at the end of this. You have to listen to the whole thing. Will it be a promo code for overseas
Pineapple
listeners?
10.
Oy vey, Schmear. Go ahead.
So there was a moment, and so thank you so much, by the way, Geoff. You've always been such a great fan of the Overseasoned Podcast, and I think we're coming upon a new dawn, because when we were doing Overseasoned Podcast and we got into the pandemic, into the old panty times. I like how you say that.
Yeah.
The old panty.
The panty.
There was a weird point in time where the interviews and the guests we had on our show were a big fucking drag, dude.
Right.
It was really sad. Everybody was losing jobs. Nobody knew if people could go out to eat again.
Right.
Everybody was going to go. We got French chefs on who crying about, I can't send French fries in the to-go box. We got our wine friends who now can't sell, telling us how they're calling their friends on a weekly basis to check in.
There was one guy doing coke.
There was definitely a dude doing blow, and I think 10 years later he's still doing blow in his Range Rover.
Because it was just a voice only, but his camera was on his phone. And
yes.
Oh my God.
Dude, he was literally doing lines off of the top of his fucking iPhone, not realizing that it was recording. Go ahead. Yes,
I got a story. You got to remind me. I got a story about a guy who did it. We did it on Knife Talk. We did a podcast with it, and it was very funny too. Keep going.
So I think Tony got scarred by those dark times of the Overseasoned Podcast. And for a long time, we've decided, you know what? We're not bringing anybody on the show.
Just gonna be
this
us.
isn't going to be a fucking commercial
Right.
for somebody. And we're also not going to sit around and mope and cry and, unpack a bunch of unhealthy stories. But you know what? We wanted to bring it back, bro. You're the first person we're bringing on to Overseasoned, and we're very excited to have a nice, fresh perspective on the show. So
it's the only time we're going to do it.
I'm honored.
This is it.
That's it. One and done is fine by me. I'm
Yeah.
honored. I'm honored to be here. I'm a fan.
Right on.
dude,
Thank
we're big fans of you. So for those of you out there in the world that don't know Geoff, he is a social media icon.
Get the fuck out of here.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Ay.
All right?
Go ahead.
He is also a skilled craftsman that does some of the most beautiful knives that are available.
You have one
Don't
too,
you
right?
dare steal
Thanks. You have one?
the serrated knife. Don't you dare.
Do you have a
all right?
serrated or do you have a chopper?
I have a Santoku.
Oh, he's busting out the lingo.
Okay.
He's a chopper. You
Yeah.
got it?
Is that a chopper?
No,
Well,
it's a Santuko.
I don't.
Santoku.
Go ahead. And then I sent
And
you something special specifically from this podcast.
I also have a beautiful cast iron like a poker almost like for
A steak churner?
It's not just a steak turner. I can itch my back with it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it also doubles as when I drop something behind the couch, I can very easily hook it.
Yeah,
like my keys
It's
fell behind my
railroad tie, right? The railroad.
Yeah.
It's
nail.
cool.
What is
It's
it?
cool.
Railroad?
It was basically
nail?
it was a train spike.
Train spike.
A train spike that I used as a steak flipper, and I stopped doing those because somebody
only
started
doing those too?
I showed somebody how to do it, and I had to cut it loose.
Do you? So
Would
it
people
made you
stop stealing
doing
from
it.
Geoff?
It made out of spite. it made me decide.
Well, this is an interesting little, social media. You're on social media. You're doing a lot of instructional things. You want, you have like a whole following of junior level knife makers working in the garage, listening to your podcast. Like, where's the line between you just want accreditation? Like, I learned this from Fader Knives.
Here, it's interesting. So I got 2 podcasts. I got the Full Blast podcast and I got Knife Talk.
Because we know about people stealing ideas.
We sure do.
This is something that, the knife making community is a fantastic community. A lot of people who have, it's something that a lot of people who have picked up as a way to express themselves in a very positive way, and you're making something that people can use. There's something you're not lifting anything over 25 pounds. It's a low level of entry to do it, and knife making, I don't believe, is art as much as it is taking a string of tips, putting them all together, and then you make a knife. So I think it's very easy. I shouldn't say easy. It's one of those things that's very approachable for someone to learn how to do.
Okay.
And then it gets to the point where a lot of the stuff, a lot of people are inspired by things that they see. And I got to be careful. Being inspired.
Don't you dare be careful.
Being inspired you should be inspired to work and come up with your own ideas. But some people they think inspiration is, I'm seeing what he's doing and I'm going to copy it.
Understood.
So the train spike thing, I did that the first one I did was for a customer of ours had one, and then they had lost it in a divorce custody or something like that. So I came up with an idea and I used the train spike, and then I did a series of twists.
I didn't know this was
twists.
A train spike.
Yeah, it was because if you look at the back, if you look at the handle, it should be the head of the nail. It should be the head of the nail. I think you got a train spike. So I started to see that people were, it was like exact copies. And I got to the point where I was like, well, what am I going to do? I don't copyright this, and maybe someone's done it before. So I was just like, you know what? Let them have it. I don't want to do it. So a lot of times I'll try to do, and what we do at Fader Knives is we will try to do stuff based off of the things that we've, short evolutions of what we've made in the past. And we make a little change, and I try to do things with color that other people aren't doing, because I had a art background, and I really wanted to try to set us apart from a lot of other people, because there's only so much knife designs you can do. So that's the short answer. The long answer to the short question.
Well, and I have 2 others.
Go ahead.
So I have a beautiful paring knife. That motherfucker is so sharp. You sent that to us. You sent it to me around Christmas time last year.
Was it the A1? The A1. All right. So carbon steel can patina with acids. The lowest acids can be mustard. You do a mustard patina. Actually, it's 2 different types of mustards to get the.
There's a recipe.
There's a recipe.
Well,
don't you dare share the recipe before somebody fucking steals it.
I learned my recipe comes from 2 different guys. One guy used one particular mustard, another guy used a different type of mustard, and the amount of vinegar in the mustard gives you a different color. So I decided to push them both together and do one layer of one, another layer of the other, and I got this really nice thing. So you on Overseasoned Podcast, your love of A1 steak sauce is so rampant, I guess.
It's been 3 episodes since we mentioned it. I was hoping for a 4th. We know that you believe that on your Mount Rushmore of condiments, A1's on there. A1 is Washington, right? I would imagine. So
A1 is Lincoln, because it'll set you free.
So what I thought was, I bet you there's enough acid in the A1 sauce to do a patina with the A1. So I made a little knife, and then I tried using the A1. There is not as much as you would imagine. It wasn't as dark as the mustard, but there was enough in the A1 that I used the A1, and I sent it to you because I wanted you to have an A1 patinaed paring knife.
I love it. It makes me feel so heard and seen.
What's the handle on that one? What's the handle on that?
Black, I think.
Black, yes. And then lastly, going back to social media and the importance of using it as a marketing tool, you posted about this beautiful, I don't want to say it's what do you call the 2-pronged fork? Is that what it's called, a 2-pronged fork?
Oh yeah, our finesse fork, our fader fork, yeah.
So
That's right.
I bought that because it had the Basque flag on it.
Basque flag, yeah.
And the moment I saw it, I was like, wait, that's made for me. And I bought the Basque flag. Fancy fork?
Fader fork.
Fader fork.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a big fan of your stuff. I believe that the kind of knives that you make me want to have a kid.
Whoa.
Nothing else do. Look,
Whoa. I've never heard that one before.
Here's why, right? Because, like, let's say, for example, like, grandma's not doing well.
Go ahead.
Right? Grandma's not doing well. And you're like, do you want the Cabbage Patch Kids? No, I don't want the fucking Cabbage Patch. I don't want the rocking chair. I want grandma's beautiful old Wagner cast iron pan. That's how I'm going to be connected to grandma. So what I'm hoping is one day, if I have little fuckers running around, they're not like, I don't want dad's, wine cellar, his burgundy cellar. I don't want
his burgundy cellar.
His
unbelievable.
His Martin guitar collection. I want his fader knives.
So that's what you want? You want your children to
fight over your knives.
That's what they want?
I want them to want
it's funny.
your knives.
It's funny. The funny thing is,
the last
a lot
train spike.
A lot of knife makers, when I talk to them and we talk about the community, they want to talk about their legacy. And they always say, I want to make knives that will last a lifetime and be passed down for generations. Versus me, I don't give a fuck what you do with the knives.
So you're the last, you're the one guy who doesn't want my kids to have the knives?
Tony and I are not sentimental, right, Tony? We don't believe in sentiment. What did we say? Being sentimental, nostalgia's for the weak.
Yeah, nostalgia's for the weak.
Nostalgia's for the weak. I'm not sentimental at all. So like I hear this stuff and they say, oh, my knives, they'll last a lifetime. Well, what, of course, stainless steel knife is going to last a lifetime. What knife doesn't last a lifetime?
Even this,
I'll tell you right now, a shun. I have a fucking shun that's so chipped up.
Well, that's different.
Why? It's not going to last a lifetime.
Well, so that's based off of use. That's a use issue. That isn't a shun issue. That's a use issue.
Maybe you could buy your kids a set of their own. That's what you need.
Promo code Pineapple 10.
You know what I mean?
We're trying to drum up revenue here.
Yeah.
I see. Well, fuck. I think you need one for every season.
We've made knives for people's favorite colors of their sports teams. We've made
knives to match their cabinet colors.
Drapes. And I love that. That is one thing about the custom knife business that I love. A lot of knife makers don't like doing customs. I love it.
Listen to me.
Go ahead.
I think this is important.
Go ahead.
Considering your deep affinity for... There's only one reason I wore this today. You know that, right?
Eagles.
Yes.
You're wearing an Eagles sweatshirt. The Eagles, congratulations on the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
I think it's...
They won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, they won the Super Bowl. God bless
When?
Saquon Barkley.
God bless Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Yes. He's a golfer, Tony.
Oh, but when was the Super Bowl? When was the Super Bowl?
So the Super Bowl was this past February.
Okay, yeah, it was
All right.
months ago. What are we still talking about it for?
Okay,
We're going to talk about it forever now.
Brought it up.
But listen, so...
Go ahead.
So I think we've got to figure out, Geoff, how to get your favorite player right now is...
Jalen Brunson.
We got to figure out how to get him a fader knife.
Can I tell you something? I shouldn't even... I have something I cannot talk about on this podcast, but...
I'll say it.
What is
No,
an
you
NDA?
won't.
You got an NDA or something?
No, because I don't want to fuck it up. But I do have one of
something out there.
One of the chefs of the Knicks has one of my knives.
All right.
And I don't want to say much more than that.
All right.
But it's like we're 2 steps there, 2 steps away.
I can figure out how to get there. To Brunson, I guarantee we'll figure out how to get to
All
him.
right.
What do you want to make him, a serrated knife?
I have a feeling that he doesn't do a lot of cooking.
How do you know?
I mean, their hands got to be careful.
Do you think he needs a left-handed knife? Do those exist?
They do, but I don't make that.
No, it's only really on
It's
the
the sushi guys.
Yeah, because those are 90% sharpened on one side. Only 10%.
I didn't know this.
I don't. One thing about the knives we make is I really frown upon these boutique grinds, the food release, all these. It's like there's some God bless them all, but I really don't want to fool around too much with like the, heated steering wheel in a car, and then like this little bullshit. The car don't worry about the heated steering wheel. My knives are the non-heated steering wheel of culinary stuff. I want to give you no frills, a beautiful knife that works great, easy to sharpen.
It'll last for a lifetime.
It'll last forever. Last as long as you want it to.
Actually, no, just last for a season.
As long as
so you can buy a new one.
No. We no planned obsolescence here at Fader Knives. I can guarantee.
It's nice. People will buy one, then they'll buy another,
right.
and like that whole mix doesn't have to match. They can build their own set. It's pretty cool. I have several now.
I'm a huge fan of the knives.
You're the man.
I am. I'm a huge fan of the knives. Now, let me ask you this. So you also make some cool non-knives, right? Like you like to, for example, there was a moment in time where I feel like I saw was there a spatula?
Oh, yeah. Well, we rehandle spatulas.
All right. And so talk to me about, like, is there a certain quality level on, say, for example, because I've seen you do it on cleavers and on spatulas. Like, do you have like all right, this is my brand, I'm gonna, or is it antique?
No.
Because it's a very one-off thing.
Well, when we got, the hard part about making cleavers is it's a lot of work because it is a lot of steel. And making cleavers is, if you were to do stock removal where you buy the piece of steel the size of the knife and you cut it out and then you grind it, is a lot of work. And there's also, if you were to forge it out, it's a lot of work. And then that translates to it becoming very expensive.
Got it.
So what we've done, is Tony started to do, is we started to get antique cleavers. And then what we would do is we would kind of call it rehab. We'd rehab them. We would clean them up a little bit so you could still see the touch mark and take the handles off. And
they're all rusty and stuff.
They're rusty. We take off the rust and try not to like completely change it.
Yeah.
Have the kind of bones of what it is, and then maybe finish it off with like a mustard patina. We would do the mustard patina because I think it's number one, it's a great finish. It looks great, but it also does protect the carbon steel. So we started to do that, and then something happened, and I was just like, why don't we just try to do a spatula? And the thing is we at some point, relatively within the next not too long, we are going to have our own spatulas, water jet. But I was just like, let's just get spatulas and then rehandle them. And then we started to do that. So it's something we offer. We also do that with bench scrapers. I've been getting bench scrapers and rehandling bench scrapers. The bench scrapers are pretty popular these days.
Are pretty sturdy, right?
People like them. They used to use them for baking, but now I think it's like for gathering up your food on your cutting board and then putting it into the bowl.
Yes.
So that's kind of more hot ticket, and it really isn't. It was one of those things that was just a nice little add-on. We try to keep it relatively inexpensive, and it's just kind of a nice little fun thing to have. So
I think they're really cool.
Yeah, they're good. It's nice to be able to offer all that stuff, oyster knives and all that stuff.
We were just on your podcast, the Full Blast podcast, and you had touched on a menu item that Tony was really after, which was like the fire-licked pineapple. Yeah. And you have a disdain, it sounds like, for pineapples.
No.
Let's talk about this.
No, I just, I grew up in New York. And my sister had a bookstore down in the West Village, and we would go to, I grew up eating John's of Bleecker Street pizza. Like, I was spoiled.
Is that place still there?
Yeah, of course. I was spoiled. I was really spoiled because the pizza we ate was really good.
Talk to me about the pizza. Classic New York pizza?
I mean, well, John's of Bleecker's a little bit more thin, super thin crust, almost like
that
cracker,
style.
A cracker crust.
Yeah.
And it's
not
not
the
a slice shop.
coal-fired oven one?
Coal-fired oven.
I used to see them, like the trucks out there, like delivering the coal in the morning.
John's is like the highest level. And the problem is like, and we talked about this on Full Blast, is I'm not really a foodie anymore because I felt like I was spoiled as a kid. Like nothing really.
We're going to decide that very shortly.
I don't really care so much. But one of the things is that I grew up in New York. We ate, I can name 10 places I used to go to, and I don't know what the fuck happened with people with pineapple on their pizza. But there's so many people outside of New York who swear by it, and I said
But you swear on it.
Well, on Knife Talk, always said I want to do something controversial, but not the kind of controversy that someone's going to throw a brick through your window.
Yeah.
Like I want the simple stuff. pineapple shouldn't be on a pizza. That's easy. And then well, you don't know, you've never had it before. I've had it 3 times. Each time I'm like, this sucks. This is terrible. Well, you didn't have it the right time. I've had it 3 separate times. Each time I thought it was disgusting. I don't want hot fruit at all. And then somebody said to me,
how about bananas Foster?
Somebody says to me, yeah, but not with marinara sauce. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
So somebody said to me, he's like, well, you don't like hot apple pie? I'm like, yeah, not with marinara sauce.
Agreed.
So
I agree.
I've had it 3 times, and then the pineapple pizza people are...
Which is a pretty big constituency.
I'll tell you who it is. It's people north of Connecticut, number 1.
Okay.
Like Maine, New Hampshire, they're pineapple people. Canada, love pineapple on their pizza. Midwest people love pineapple on their pizza. Places where I'm going to say something that might be controversial, but I think that there's not a huge grouping of Italian people who make that style of, crust, sauce, cheese. And I've tried it, and I've tried it out of hope that maybe I'm wrong, and I'm never wrong. And I go with it. Pineapple shouldn't be on pizza, and that's it. And if that's the hill I'm going to die on, if that's what a brick's going to come through my window about, then I got to get better windows.
I like it. I'm a pineapple pizza
At least
guy.
you're a black.
You like pineapple on the pizza?
Yeah.
Like what?
I'm not going to get it,
You eat Dole pineapple, like a canned pineapple on a pizza, or do you eat a special?
What are we talking about? It doesn't have to be that special, Well,
tell me about how pineapple pizza is good.
It's not I seek it out. But I like it.
I think I just opened up a can of pineapples.
No, but I mean, like, what is about what? Now, explain to me because
did you like it like spicy honey on? You get some sweetness on there.
Hot honey, I've done, and on like one slice. Mm-hmm. Like I'll have one slice
it can be
plain, then one. I'm not gonna do the whole goddamn pie.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's not like killing me.
What's the perfect slice? What are you putting on your slice?
You mean? Oh,
toppings.
I mean my favorite pizza place is there's 3 places. One is John's. I grew up on John's. John's on Baker Street. Frank Pepe in Connecticut is like unreal. Their clam pie is insane.
Yeah.
And there's a place near my town which is the best pizza close by. It's called Bocce. Wait,
is this a crazy place though where you have to?
Don't say anything. Just it's the best pizza. My guy is the man, and and I don't want to say another word.
So one time, Geoff.
Go ahead.
I was left incredibly disappointed with the pineapple experience, and I know how you feel.
Yeah.
We have an office down in Bogota, Tony and I.
Yeah.
With the Over Easy office team.
Yeah.
And there was a night of indulging, that I usually were pretty good, but this night I decided I wanted to go out and have some drinks, enjoy the culture, get some fucking reggaeton in, do the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. Not rigatoni.
Reggaeton?
Reggaeton. It's goo, gitu, goo. It's all that fucking,
okay, gotcha.
the dancing, So
I some pasta.
I had not rigatoni, reggaeton.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So I got a little extra sauced, and I needed something to get me through because if I wake up and I haven't had at least one carbohydrate, I'm going to wake up not feeling great, and I knew I needed something to soak up some booze, right? Yeah. So these very kind bartenders I've made friends with decided that they wanted to take me to their local burger hangout. And I said, just give me the burger how you have it. They're like, abso-fucking-lutely, you got it. This fucking monstrosity came out grilled beef, mayonnaise, guacamole, tomatoes, beans, caramelized onion, cheese, and a thick-ass slice of grilled pineapple.
How do you even eat that? Come on.
Bro, this is how I ate it. Hammered, not paying attention, first bite, I almost spit it out. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Hot, wet pineapple.
With just like...
With guacamole.
Here's how I could imagine pineapple being good on pizza, is if it was like a powder, like a dust.
Okay.
Like a very, very... Like a dusting seasoning, something that's not going to change the structure of pizza. It's not going to sog it up.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
If I can imagine like a very, very flavorful dust. Pineapple dust.
Interesting.
Pineapple dust.
That I can imagine.
Right.
Then all of a sudden,
just as long as it's not a pineapple.
you don't
when
want to
it
bite
hits-
in a hot fruit in your pizza.
I agree.
Tomatoes
You know?
are fruit.
I agree.
But no, it's not a sauce.
I know what you mean.
I
Tomatoes
don't
are
like
fruit.
I don't like chopped tomatoes on a pizza.
I generally I don't seek out pineapple pizza, but if it's there, I'll have it. You know what I
Have a
mean?
whole
I'm not
little
like
slice.
I don't see it that often
But you know
anymore.
what, you know what, though?
Where even
But
is it?
You're very amiable about that kind of stuff. You don't fuss. You're not a fuss guy. Like if you're at a place and there's a thing, you're gonna have it.
Yeah,
You're very thoughtful.
Well, Geoff,
Go ahead.
you mentioned
Go ahead.
that you're not a foodie.
No,
Do you like to cook at home?
I do all the cooking at home.
All right. So what did you make last night for dinner?
Well-
Tonight is a big night. Do you have dinner planned? What's going on?
Well, my family's out of town, so I'm probably just gonna rummage around. I'm not really making a big plan.
I do the same thing. I'm like I don't cook for myself at all.
No,
ever.
we had some chicken breast in the refrigerator last night, and I grilled the chicken breast and I had it on the salad. Not boring.
What's in the salad? Come on.
I'll tell you a funny thing. You know what I'm looking for in a lettuce? I'm looking for palest romaine
Whitest.
you can find.
Oh, dude, the inner hearts.
No. When I'm buying romaine,
Yeah.
I want albino romaine. I'm looking at the
It's like
bags.
the white asparagus of
Why is that?
leaf.
How do you do that? Do you find
I
it?
look in the bag, the 3 packs of bags, and I'm looking at the bags of romaine, and I'm comparing the colors, and I'm saying which one is the lightest of colors,
Yeah.
and I'm grabbing that one.
Interesting.
I like that one too.
I will take the whitest romaine you got.
All right. I never even thought to.
Oh, I'm like, look, and when I find one that's like, just almost like a white or with like a cream colored
Like
yellow.
on its way to yellow?
you're
I
my
know
guy.
exactly what you're
and it's
talking
tight-
about.
They're tighter, and I think that they
The
taste.
leaves like curlier almost, right?
I'll cut off, if there's green on the top, I'm cutting it off into the garbage.
So you're also an aficionado with the paella, which
Yes.
I thought X might like to get into a little bit.
Yes.
For like, what's your standard paella day like?
My grandfather was born in Italy, and then the Spanish influenza killed both his parents, and he moved to the United States.
There was a Spanish influenza?
Oh, you don't know about the Spanish flu?
Spanish flu.
Ah.
Spanish flu.
I think it came from Fort Detrick, but that's another story.
Yeah, I think it was an American thing.
Yeah.
All right.
And so?
So he loved. He also spent a lot of time in South America. He ended up making paella a lot. And then about, I would say maybe 15 years ago, I thought to myself, like, my grandfather used to make paella, maybe give it a whirl. And I got really into paella, and I got paella, the traditional paella pans. I got one of the burners, the correct burners, and I got very involved to the point where I ended up cooking for like 1,600 people at right before the panty. I cooked at a street fair, and I made like 6 4-foot pans of paella. It was so much fun.
By yourself?
With a friend, but it was a restaurant, and I did all the prep. They gave me all the stuff, and I did all the prep, and I cooked it all. So yeah, I love paella. But
But you need friends for paella.
Oh yeah. Well, you can do it too.
Tell us a little bit about what's your whole...
Well, I do it, my paella, I usually refer to, I make the stock, I usually refer to the stock as an abomination stock.
Okay.
And it's got like, if you're doing chicken, the chicken bones, I'm making the broth, and then usually what I'll do is I'll do
Thighs.
the
Use
thighs. Yeah, thighs. And then I'll always put mussels on there, and I know you're not supposed to do with the chicken and the fish. Or
My dad always did the chicken and the fish.
But in my opinion, I think it's great. Now, here's the problem with paella. If you're listening to this and you're upset, this is the time to turn it off. I don't think that...
Getting a brick through your window for this one.
Yeah, brick through the window. A Spanish brick through the window. I don't necessarily think that I think the most important part of cooking the paella is the rice. Well, question. You got to use the bomba rice, the Calispar rice. You have to have a sofrito. What I do ahead of time is I'll make this sofrito ahead of time, because the longer you cook it down, the more kind of dark red it gets. It's much more flavorful. So I'll do that ahead, and I'll keep it in a quart container in the refrigerator. And then I'll poach all my mussels in the stock too. Oof. And then I'll chill them out and I'll rip off one of the shells.
I love how you do that.
And then, because I feel as though if you're trying to cook the rice and cook the fish and the shrimp and the mussels
and make them all come together,
it's like, well, you got to choose your battles. I want the rice to be good, and then I'll make sure, don't worry about the mussels. I get the mussel, I poach the mussels ahead, and then at the very end I'll put them in like tombstones. I call them little tombstones, because then you can maximize the amount of mussels on there. Like, and most people are eating paella, they're at a party, and you got a drink in one hand, and you got a plate in the other hand. How the fuck are you gonna open up a mussel if it's got the shells?
Can I tell you?
Go ahead.
What I love most about seeing your pictures of paella is I'm like, you don't even need a fucking fork.
Yeah.
You just use the fucking shovel,
right.
the nature shovel.
It's a very efficient way, and then I'll also, if I have shrimp, I'll poach the shrimp shells with the mussel stock water, the mussel stock.
So this is your abomination stock.
Abomination stock, and then usually I'll have some like smoked turkey necks. I'll throw that in there too.
Whoa!
So this is a total abomination. This is a real abomination, total abomination. But it's very flavorful, because the whole point of paella is you want the rice to be very flavorful.
I agree.
So we're going in there. So there's shrimp stock, mussel stock, and like smoked turkey stock in there. It's like wild. And then
it's like a jambalaya.
Yeah, it's abomination is the right word, because people are just like, that's an abomination. And I'm like, you're right.
So, but 100%. So you have speaking of abominations in Spain.
Yeah.
You have a homie, right? That you'll do a yearly trip.
Yes.
Right, to go make knives.
Yeah.
In Barcelona.
In Barcelona. Yeah. Have you talked to him about this?
He's Israeli, so he really doesn't have a huge. I mean,
he's got
Tomer's
a couscous recipe.
He's my brother. He makes pita bread that's unbelievable.
Really?
Like, he's really amazing. But like, Tomer's got a guy who one of his Florentine kitchen knives is unbelievable. So every year I go out there, he's got one of his guys who works for him, and he and I go back and forth when he sees me make paella, because he's a chef too, and
he's also a chef.
One of his guys, yeah. So there's, I trust me. Anytime I make any kind of paella, people go crazy.
There's a lot. It's one of those things. Like, the traditional one is like snails and rabbits, or what were you saying before?
Yeah, usually, like, as far as my understanding is, the most classic one is like rabbits and snails.
Right. That's the classic, right?
With like the long green beans, right? That are the ones that have the little, I forget what they're called. They have a name. But anyway, that's a classic. Like, there's a meat, and then there's the seafood ones, right? Which are usually like arroz caldoso, but much like it's always about a super rich broth, and it's always about highlighting one or two ingredients, not a thousand.
The crazy part is the traditional paellas Americans won't like, because it's supposed to be minimum rice and maximum socarrat.
Yeah, which is the shit.
So it's like,
I love that shit.
So when you see it properly cooked, if you order it at a really good place, your plate for one is going to be a monster. But I might be like half a cup of rice. Like, the Bomba rice stretches is like 4-to-1 stock to rice. So like, you can make a pile of paella. So you can either do the pilaf style for like a lot of people, where it's like like an inch of rice and then the socarrat at the end, or you can do what the traditional dudes do, and then the whole thing is just this, quarter-inch
thin, crusty,
and the rice is super duper al dente. And most Americans would not like the traditional paella, because the rice is like, it's less. It
doesn't seem like a rice dish.
No. Yeah, it's not like risotto at all.
Right.
Yeah, it's a traditional one is super thin on a big plate, versus what we're used to.
It's almost like a rice tuile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's an acquired taste. It's definitely different than the paella that you would expect.
Yeah.
And now the paella that I make for like parties or stuff like that, it's a thicker. I'm looking for. My goal is to make sure that the paella is under the rivets of the pan. Mm-hmm. Like, that's my goal, and I'm still gonna get like
some socarrat on the bottom.
Oh yeah. So the best part about the Bomba rice and all that calspar is, you cook your sofrito. Then that's when I throw in the chopped turkey necks, just to get a little bit in there. Oh yeah. What do you think? I left the smoked turkey? It's going in there, and then you do and then you got the chicken going, then the sofrito and all that stuff, and then you throw the rice in, and then the rice goes 10 minutes high, 10 minutes full blast, and then 10 minutes low, and then 10 minutes covered with nothing, and you end up with and then at the very end, after you chill, you turn the fire on full blast, and then you get the sauerkraut, which is the kind of that sticky.
That's a very elusive kind of thing to get master that sauerkraut.
You have to listen. It's all about
the sauerkraut. The trick is having highly gelatinous stock. That is the sauerkraut.
That's how you make
the
protein.
Correct.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. Because it's not supposed to be burnt as much as it's supposed to be caramelized.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've had. I like making it. It's for a party. There's nothing more fun. Like, especially if it's big.
Convivial. Everybody gets to share it.
And the whole point of making paella is you're not supposed to start it until the last guest has arrived.
Because I didn't know this. Who said this?
That's a big thing. Like, you can't be like, if you don't start it until the last guest arrived. So like sometimes we'll have a party. Like, I'm actually going to do a wedding. I forgot. In Newburgh, a friend of mine, Cliff, is getting married. And I did a paella party for him before. He asked me if I would do the wedding. So I'm like, yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh!
Great. I got a 4-foot pan. I don't know how to figure out how to get it over to his house. Can't fit on my car. Won't fit in the car.
Is it that big, the pan?
The 4-foot pan? Yeah, it's 4 foot in diameter. This is 2 handles. This is as big as this table.
No shit.
Yeah. They're awesome, and it's very inexpensive. Those
and this
pans,
is going to be a live fire paella?
Nah, not live fire. It's going to be that my kit.
There's like a stand with a burner.
It's a stand with 4 rings. They make They make this burner with 4 rings, and then 3 rings, and then each ring is controlled. So based on the size of your pan. It's great. The whole system's great. It's very inexpensive. The whole point of paella was to be able to feed the workers in the vineyards. Yeah. It was like they were using this big plowshare, and then they'd find whatever they had. And then the bamba rice has a Middle Eastern heritage, because I guess there was something because it's a different type of Kalispar, and bamba rice is a different type of short grain rice. It's not like risotto or sushi rice.
Of course, yeah.
So when it expands wide, very wide, and it takes on a lot of moisture whatsoever. So you can really, you'd be surprised at how much rice you can feed, little rice you can feed people with. So I love it. Yeah, it's great, and I would rather do that than grill. It's great.
All right, I like that. So you're not a foodie, but
well, then I might. But yeah, you got a good point. But I'm not one of these guys who, like, when you go to Peter Luger's, or no, when you go to Keen's Steakhouse and you order the prime rib, you got to ask for the 7th rib, because when you eat the labia minora,
you're already winning.
Fat,
you're already winning.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's
like
the 12th rib. It's the 12th rib, by the way.
I'm talking about, like, when I look at the.
I
don't know
if the labia minora might be the wrong word, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, Geoff, I feel like this is just hopefully the beginning
of course,
of a string of opportunities to connect. Because I got so many more questions for you, one of which, maybe we'll leave on this one.
Go ahead.
So I feel like the intersection of art and sports is a very weird one. Right? Most people I know that are art people don't like sports.
I agree with you 100%.
Are you an art person?
I've done this bit. I've done this whole bit.
You have?
Yeah, I've done this bit.
So tell me about it.
Oh, it's his narcissism. It's just completely about. It's the fact that people who are artistic want. I'm being very. I'm throwing a.
Throw it in there. Throw it in the fire.
But most artistic people, and if you're listening to this and you're taking offense,
turn it off.
I'm not talking about you, or maybe I am.
Yeah, turn it off.
It is called Overseasoned. You got to be a little.
You're looking for, when you're a creative person, you're making something. You subconsciously you want people to care about what you say or do, which is ultimately narcissistic. You care about that. And by the way, I think that narcissists are terrible at hospitality. That's a different situation, because I think it's the same thing. So a lot of times, at especially a younger age, artistic people don't fit in with like jocks, and they don't like sports because of the connotations of maybe they're not good at it or something like that. But a lot of people that I know who are makers, the maker community, they don't like sports whatsoever, because I feel as though there's this narcissism of like, well, why do we have to talk about them? What about me? And I do believe that there is a connection there, because I'm shocked at how few people in the knife making community, like, I don't have anyone to talk about basketball with. I don't know anyone to talk about baseball with. And I feel as though that there is some sort of connection with that.
Listen, most of the artists that I know find sports to be repulsive.
Yeah.
I think it's such an interesting thing
Yeah.
that somebody who is so into the aesthetic of things can't find beauty out of sports.
Right. No, they don't like it because it doesn't fit into that.
It takes attention away.
Right.
Well, with the attention on tonight, I'm going to say this, and this will be the only fucking time I say this.
Nixon 7.
In my life, Geoff, I hope that the fucking Knicks win for you, pal. And you know what? The Sixers have been shit in the bed for long enough.
They get the bones.
It's about time MSG had something to celebrate.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Well, I think the fact that the bones of the Knicks are from Villanova, I think that is
that also helps.
Part of you, and the Pope, by the way.
And so, the Pope. God and bless. My dad actually used to teach at Villanova also.
Oh, look at you got the Villanova connection.
It's just you can't get away.
Well, guys, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for
anytime you guys come back up here, I love what you're doing. Honestly, I believe that Overseasoned is the only podcast worth a damn. And I appreciate you guys inviting me on here.
And if you want to hang out with Geoff, you've got Geoff Fader, right? At Geoff Fader for Instagram.
Yeah.
You've got Fader Knives at Fader Knives, right? FaderKnives.com. Buy yourself a fucking beautiful knife.
Yeah.
Give something to your kids that they'll actually care about.
Yeah.
And then how else? Where else? You got two podcasts, right?
Yeah, I'm on if you want to learn more about knife making, we have Knife Talk, which is the #1 knife-related podcast on this germ-infested planet, whether you like it or not. And then the Full Blast podcast, which is more kind of like
the beginning of your paella.
Interviews and kind of, it's more of long-form conversation, not too long, but Knife Talk is more like a radio show, like a Z Morning Zoo almost of, knife questions we get in from other knife makers. So it's fun.
We're so happy that you were able to join us. Thank you so much, and use code Pineapple10
for nothing. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man. Thanks, brother.
Dude, you're the man.
Thank you.
You're the man. Appreciate you.
Overseasoned Podcast was brought to you by Over Easy Office, outsourced bookkeeping solution.